Hey everyone, I'm John Sisson and today we're taking a look at the Sony RX1R Mark II. For those that don't know, the RX1R Mark II is a full-frame camera sporting a 42.4 megapixel sensor and a Carl Zeiss 35mm f2 lens. Now, taking a look at a few of its specs and features, it has quite a few things that a lot of people would appreciate. This also replaces the RX1, which was released way back in late 2012. And since then, the photography landscape has changed quite a bit. And it's best to ask or make reasons as to why this camera is still relevant today. So stay tuned as I take you through a tour of the camera, as well as my personal thoughts on it. The design of the camera is essentially the same as the original RX1 camera, with a strong build, albeit with a few significant improvements. First of all, there is a tilting high-res LCD screen, which a lot of people will appreciate. And the second is, of course, the built-in electronic viewfinder, which is crystal clear. Once the viewfinder pops up, it's good to go, and when you put it away, it just requires a simple push down, and that's it. I also love the eye cup that comes supplied with it. It's nice and comfortable, but my only problem is that it's fiddly to put on and take off, and preferably I'd love to keep it on, but when I have to tuck away the viewfinder, the eye cup has to come off too. Now the camera weighs approximately 507 grams and it isn't the lightest camera to carry around, but when you consider the quality of images that you get, especially when it is a full frame camera with a full frame lens, it's definitely a good trade-off. Taking a look at the Sony a7R Mark II and the 35mm 2.8, which I guess is the closest relative to the RX1R Mark II, it's considerably smaller and just the body alone for this camera is 625 grams. Now in terms of handling the camera, I do have a few issues with it. It's small, which is great, but just holding the camera doesn't feel secure, so I do recommend people getting a wrist strap or using the supplied shoulder strap just in case. Like the RX1, there are 3 rings to change different settings. The first is the aperture ring, the second is to change the focus distance from either 0.3 meters to infinite, or to have a close focus mode from 0.2 meters to 0.3 meters. And finally, the focus ring. The control rings on the lens is a fantastic idea and makes it easy to change settings quickly. But I sometimes accidentally change the focus limiter and manual focus ring because they're so close together. The camera has a lot to offer when it comes down to features. Apart from the usual Wi-Fi, Play Memories apps, and picture effects, one of the main benefits to this camera is the ability to turn on or off the optical variable low pass filter. Keep in mind, this is only available for stills. To get the most out of the resolution and sharpness of the camera, it's best to have it turned off, but this is at the expense of moire and color artifacts. When you turn it on, it's going to reduce the issue but won't be as sharp as if it were off. The good thing though is that you can set it on standard to have a balance between the two, or if you can't decide which one you want, you can always go into the drive mode and select low pass filter bracketing, where the camera will take 3 shots in quick succession in the order of standard, high, and off. After taking a look at a few shots, it was very difficult to find the difference between having the variable low pass filter on and off. That's mainly because the camera does a very good job at keeping moire and color artifacts to a minimum. Borrowing the autofocusing system of the A7R II, the RX1R Mark II has 399 phase detection autofocus points, and that's for quick and accurate focusing, which is a huge step up from its predecessor. Achieving focus is fast in good lighting conditions, but tends to slow down in dim light. This is the same case when tracking a moving subject. The camera takes about 2 seconds to start up to take a photo, and about 1.5 seconds to shut down. The camera can shoot up to 5 frames per second with focus and exposure locked onto the first frame. Shooting times will vary per charge on how you use the camera, such as whether you use the viewfinder, which will decrease the battery life a lot faster, or the LCD screen, but it is rated to last approximately for 220 shots or 110 minutes of video shooting. That being said, I do always recommend carrying a few extra batteries with this camera. The camera features a 42 megapixel sensor and is similar to the one used in the A7R Mark II. This sensor is tried and tested and looks to be one of the best sensors that Sony has in their current range. The sensor in combination with the lens delivers some strikingly beautiful colors that is sharp and contrasty with some very smooth out of focus blur. I was comfortable shooting at up to ISO 12800, where noise began to creep in and detail started to degrade, and would only use ISO 25600 as a last resort, but the camera is capable of going up to ISO 102400. However, I wouldn't recommend shooting at this level. The camera can shoot at Full HD in a number of frame rates in a number of different codecs, which include XAVCS HD, AVC HD, and MP4. Unfortunately, there is no 4K video recording, which many would think is a given since the A7R Mark II has this feature, but due to its small size, I think overheating would be a big factor as to why it wasn't included. Either way, this camera was primarily made for the still shooter in mind rather than video. Although you do have a mic input and various video features such as peaking and dual video recording. Unfortunately, there is no S-Log in this camera. The Sony RX1R Mark II is a fantastic camera, especially when you consider its small form factor and the amount of tech that's built into it. Now, I love the images that you get straight out of the camera. The lens and the sensor are a perfect match, and having the added benefits of Wi-Fi, a tilting screen, a viewfinder, and a better autofocusing system are big advantages. It's not a camera made for everyone, and while it is more expensive than the previous version, you'll be happy to know that it's just not a simple refreshed model. Now, battery life is terrible, so I do recommend grabbing a few extra ones, especially if you're going out on a day shoot. There is a bit of lag on the startup time, and switching between the LCD to the EVF takes a bit of time as well. The eye cup that is supplied with the camera is comfortable to use, but it is a bit fiddly to take on and take off, and during my time using it, I didn't end up using it that much or at all, because it was every time I want to tuck away the viewfinder, I also had to take off the eye cup as well, so that was a bit annoying. But yeah, so that was a couple of my annoyances throughout the time using the camera. But if you do love the 35mm focal length and its compact form factor, this might be the camera for you. Also, it's very simple to use, and if you have a deep enough pockets, then to be honest, I wouldn't hesitate in grabbing one. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, and if you already own one, let me know what you think of it, and remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more Sony camera reviews and tutorials. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram for more photo updates and sample photos. And if you want to support my channel financially to help me get more gear, click the card on the top. Now until then, happy shooting and thanks for watching.